In this video, we're going to do an introduction to media effects theory. So, what are media effects theories? These are the various theories that address how media impacts us, both as an individual and as a society. So, what I can tell you right away, media experts resoundingly agree that mass media, in fact, does impact us. But in which ways, to what extent? Well, there's a large amount of disagreement there and many, many unanswered questions. We generally agree, though, that the effects can be positive or negative, abrupt or gradual, short term or long lasting. I can say that if you look back historically speaking, media effects studies have undergone several phases or trends, for lack of a better word, and they've often corresponded to the development of mass media technologies. In other words, when new mass media technologies came out, media scholars had to kind of pivot and review prior results and kind of look at where they would need to go moving forward. Major media effects studies, the ones we'll be talking about in this module, they have continued to evolve and they continue to receive wide scale debate, both in terms of their importance and their results. We're going to go ahead now. We're going to talk about the first of the major media effects studies, the granddaddy of them all, and that is the direct effects theory. This theory implies that mass media has a direct, immediate, and powerful impact on its audiences. It's sometimes referred to as the hypodermic needle theory. It was popular in the 1930s and remained well discussed over the next several decades. It assumes that audiences passively accept media messages and we act predictably to those messages. In other words, if all of us were to sit down and watch a television advertisement, we would all react predictably to that advertisement. Okay. These theorists liked to use as an example, a prime example actually, a sort of proof and illustration to their point, a specific event, War of the Worlds. In the late 1930s, there was this radio drama. It was produced by a young but very, very talented director, Orson Welles. He directed this infamous CBS radio drama. It was based on H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. He took the book and made a radio script out of it. And it was presented commercial free. And it was presented as if it were a real news broadcast, kind of a piece of wartime journalism, in a way, where the news broadcaster at the beginning of the broadcast receives some news. He's not quite sure what to make of it. Along the way, more information is coming in. Technologies are being reported in the field. They're being reported, but nobody's familiar with these technologies. New things are coming. By the end of the broadcast, we're finding out that there is an all-out, full-scale a full-scale invasion from Mars, as it were. On the bottom right-hand side of your screen, you'll see this little speaker. You can listen to the full broadcast there. It's really enjoyable. That being said, the cool story here is not just the radio show, but what happens after. The next day, many, even reputable newspapers, ran a story, and even the New York Times, they claimed that thousands of people were gripped by mass hysteria because they believed that that radio show was broadcasting on real events that were occurring. They believed that an actual invasion was occurring. So you had all these newspapers talking about mass hysteria and fear and panic and all of these things, okay, all across America. And so, yeah, the direct effects series say, see there, people listened to that radio show, and everybody who listened to it just threw out their good common sense and thought that we were being invaded by a little bunch of little green people, right? So their assumption, again, direct effects theory, we all listened to the message, we all just sort of accepted it as truth. Problem. I'm sure there were a few listeners who were frightened by the broadcast. That being said, these newspapers grossly exaggerated the story. Even saying that the whole nation was panicked. Well, there was there was really only a small area that the broadcast they even reached. So there couldn't even be that many who would have received that message to begin with in terms of America. I'm sure there were people who are overly dramatic who may have gotten nervous about it all, and there were a few specific events that are no. But as a general rule, this story was way over the top, and certainly not the smoking gun that direct effects theorists would have liked it to be. I guess a more recent event, if you'd like to use one, in the 1990s, there was a whole kind of movement against video game violence. And so there were all these political discussions. There were even hearings, Senate hearings, and things of that nature. And all of them were kind of employing kind of this direct effects theories. The thought process were that if a child was to play a game, a specific game, then they would react predictably. Specific example: if a child were to play Grand Theft Auto, then they're going to go out and kill prostitutes. That was a message that was being said, and in some cases, they were even referred to this theory when talking about that. Problem is that most media theorists have kind of question the validity of the theory because, in general, it may be just too simplistic of an explanation. Chances are, if you and I sat down and watched an advertisement, you and I may react very differently, unlike this direct effects theory says. Now, many effects scholars are kind of re-examining the theory and its possibilities, but as a general rule, this theory is the grandfather that we have kind of moved on from. Okay, I need you to know a guy. I'll try to not make this a name heavy class, but in terms of this unit, I do want you to know Marshall McLuhan. Marshall McLuhan was kind of our first real major theorist, and he showed what a contemporary mass media theory could be. There's a video here that could help explain it a little bit further. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and mention him. He starts in kind of in the mid 60s and moves forward. He coined the phrase, the medium is the message. That was one of his bigger concepts, his bigger ideas. And this isn't, by the way, competing with direct effects theories. This is something, its own theory. It implies that the mass media plays a large role, definitely in shaping us, but the vehicle in what sorry what is said is less important as in terms of impact than how it is said. So, for instance, if we were to add up all of the tweets, all of the Facebook posts, all of the Instagram messages, if we were to add up all of those things, even from all of the well known people, if we were to add up all of those things together, none of those messages would be as important as the fact that we're using social media to begin with. The concept that our day is guided by the thing. So the messages themselves aren't nearly as important as the fact that we're using them in that way. So the medium is as important, if not more so, than the message itself. He goes on to talk about the global village, this concept that we are kind of retribalizing, that as we move forward in the future, we are less concerned with self definition, self thought, individual thought, and we're more concerned with fitting in, in coming in as groups and things of that nature. I encourage you to watch the various videos for McLuhan that I have posted here so you can get a stronger idea about the man and what he has to say because he has some great things to talk about.